All right, 1, 2, 3. There's going to be more people as we come in. Everyone's got their tickets. Are we low on tickets? I think we might be.
We've got a couple of tickets left over. We should be good to go.
Tell security to speed it up.
All right, let's do our intros first. So, if we want to start, I guess, on this end, Kelly and I do the Reasons I'm Broke logo. Every week we cover comics, movies, TV, video games, and more.
I'm Tom. This is Rick. We're those two jerks. We cover sports and geek stuff and whatever else we feel like talking about.
And I'm Rick, and this is Elle. We make up also the reasons I'm broke. We're also the reasons I'm broke. We make up the Read Pile, which is a video blog for reviewing comics and pop culture.
And I'm Scott from Lazy Gaming Guys. My other two members couldn't be here today because they're in Texas, but we do Let's Plays and video game commentary.
So that's a case in which their members are from a completely different state and they still make it work. So with the Podcasting 101, we're going to go down the line, talk about what got us each started and how we wanted to get into podcasting. So we'll start on that. And in your case, Let's Plays.
Yeah, me and my friends started this channel about a year and a half ago. And we basically really loved the Let's Playing community and Let's Play scene. So we wanted to kind of get into that. And we love video games and still do. So to do that is kind of a nice hobby. It's a lot of fun. The only issue we had was that we do live in different states. The other two members both live in Texas and different parts of Texas. So we try to meet up and stuff, but we have been able to overcome that through Skype, basically. So it's a lot of fun, though, working with friends and producing something you're proud of.
We started the Read Pile. Come on in. Grab a ticket.
There's a ticket for a
If you
giveaway.
can find a seat,
Yeah.
crawl over somebody.
Sit on top of people. It's okay.
We got prizes if you want a ticket.
Yeah.
You good to go. All right, so the Read Pile.
So the Read Pile started primarily because I was kind of done with seeing a lot of the same comic book review sites over and over and over again. It always looked like the same kind of thing. Some overly nerdy dude and some really cheesecake girl set up to review essentially one book in the course of half an hour. And it got really dumb and repetitive. And ultimately, I just wanted to see honest comic reviews. And that's what we really strive for with our video podcast. We cover small amounts of actual news and stuff like that, but the core is reviewing comic books and being very honest about it. And that's where we get the majority of our audience from, is the fact that we don't pull punches. And some people get very upset about that, and that's okay.
Especially on Twitter.
Especially on Twitter.
Isn't that kind of what Twitter's for, though, really? Rick and I have known each other since college, and we always had a good time goofing off about geek stuff and sports when we would go drink beer and eat food that's bad for us, so we decided to record it. And oddly enough, now there's no beer. There's still food that's bad for us when we record, but no beer.
Like entire bags of chips in under 2 minutes.
Yes, that was a recent episode. So it's working so far.
Yeah, and for us, I used to work in radio when I was in college. We were at Harper College. We did regular music, DJing, comedy, that kind of thing. And it wasn't until about 7 years later that I decided to actually listen to Kevin Smith's podcast, which anyone that listens to any podcast, you're probably subscribed to Smodcast, Batman on Batman, something of that sort. And he's always pushing people to make their own podcast, get with friends, actually start recording things. And it wasn't until the 13th time that he said that I was like, you know what, let me go for it. Let me actually try this out. And you find your very first passion, which for us was comic books. And from there, it kind of expanded into movies, television shows, video games. That's actually how we opened with all that stuff, and then comic book reviews. So I think we've been doing this for almost 2 years now, and it's just, as long as you're having fun, it's very easy to continue. So we want to talk about next on what has actually worked for us. If you're actually thinking of starting your own podcast or starting your own network, and I guess we'll come back on this, and that is actually social networking, Twitter. I mean, if you think about it relatively in the last 10 years, it's kind of a new thing. You know, you can actually connect with authors, comic book artists, fans directly, where you can do giveaways, you can do interviews over Skype, for example, with Scott doing the Lazy Gaming Guys on their end. So it's kind of a beautiful time right now where you can just, grab whatever's in your pocket and make an entire show out of it, because most of these things have various apps already built into it, or you have a computer that you can really get started on. The quality does not matter. As soon as you get it, you're good to go. So social media for us, I think, has been the most successful thing. What about on your end with those two jerks, especially with you guys are now partnered up with the Sports Network, right?
Yeah, it was through LinkedIn. I joined a podcaster group on LinkedIn, just asking for feedback. We were new at it, and we'd been doing it for a while, and I just asked more experienced people, just listen to the show and tell me what we can fix. And this guy who was starting a alternative sports talk network online got in touch with me, and we joined up with them, and it's been really successful for us. We've part of a whole network of shows, everything from curling to wrestling and baseball and us and everything in between. And it's worked out really well. We got on SoundCloud this week, and our downloads increased quite a bit. So look for ways to partner up with like-minded people, too, like we've done here. It's really helped all of us once we decided to join forces and pool our resources. We get to do, fun things like this.
The thing that worked best for the Read Pile was being ridiculously active on Twitter specifically. There are some people who thrive on Facebook and other people who thrive on Instagram and other forms. But for us, for me specifically, we got on Twitter and we did something that I think was very different. We treated everybody as though they were our best friends. So major members of the industry, whoever you were, if a major writer like Gail Simone, an artist like Greg Capullo, whoever it was, it didn't matter. Minor guys who only produced one book a year or something like that, I made sure to follow them and talk to them, and just it benefits you to A, get your name out there, and B, to create these kind of relationships, because they'll retweet you, they'll get back to you, and they'll let you know what's working for you. One of our biggest feathers in our caps is Gail Simone, who is a world famous comic book writer. She's one of our biggest fans, and it only happened because of Twitter. Every time we do an episode, she's always on top of telling us, this is what I liked, this is what I want you guys to do next time. I think it would be funny if you did this. She has 50,000 followers, and she's talking to me, some dude out of his house in Altamont Springs. It's pretty cool.
Going back to Daniel's point about just being able to use whatever you have around you. Like being able to use simple things like Skype. And I mean, for a microphone, instead of going out and spending money, I actually use my Vita. Like the PlayStation Vita has a fantastic microphone actually on it.
That I didn't know.
And the Skype app. So it's a very interesting thing of just using whatever is available so that you don't have to shell out a lot of money. And even like recording software for a game, I paid $40 on eBay for it. So it's not as expensive as you might think, or as hard as you might think, to start some of these. You can start for free, you can start for $20, you can start pretty much any way possible. And yeah, Twitter and Facebook have really been a big help too.
There are plenty of free places to host your podcast once you record it. I don't think with those two jerks, we've been doing this a year and a half, and we have not paid a dime for hosting.
And shows.
That's awesome.
Yes. But yeah, we found plenty of free places: Podomatic, Audiometric, SoundCloud.
Liberated Syndication is another one. That's the one we use. And they do have a free option if you want to put up one episode a month. If you want more space, or if you do it weekly, in our case, we do have to pay. Ours is $15 a month, and that's why we do things like the NerdUpMedia shirts, things like the donations, which are helping out with that cost. But in your case, you're saying that you can host for free even.
Yeah, there are a lot of places you can host for free. I mean, you have to finagle it a little bit because you reach a limit with free space. So sometimes we may put all of our stuff on like Amazon S3 storage. We pay for that, but it's like 25 cents a month. It's based on how much you store and how much it's downloaded. So, and it's fractions of a cent per download. So you can tell not a lot of people listen to our show. But we don't. It's a very, very minimal cost. And on the other networks, we just keep, say, the newest 5 or 6 episodes on there so that we stay under that free limit. And so we have a WordPress blog, so that points people to everything. So if they find us on Podomatic, let's say, and it's only the last couple of episodes, they know to go to our website and they can get everything.
WordPress can be your very best friend. They will let you do practically anything if you want to keep the WordPress in their name. And you can upload forever. You can buy your domain from WordPress for like $20 a year. It's something very inexpensive, and it's a great beginning point.
Or the free one being YouTube. You guys upload for
YouTube. Yeah. There's YouTube, of course.
And you can also monetize videos depending on the content of it. Nintendo does not allow us. Square Enix did not with any new games coming out. But anything else pretty much can be monetized. That does not make a whole lot, at least at our levels. I think we've been doing it for about half a year, and we've made about $2.
Hey.
So it doesn't make a lot, but as a hobby, even making $2
Means
for
you're a professional.
really doing nothing.
Now you're
really
professional.
nothing,
Someone is
having
paying
fun
you to
and
do this.
talking. Yeah, it's pretty nice, and yeah, we don't have to pay a single thing.
Right, and that's where the social media comes in. That's the more you're active on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, the more people will find you, and the more people will start listening, and then those $2, turns into $5, turns into more.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what we're told.
We haven't seen the results.
Well,
but-
that's always the hard thing. I think Rick and I can definitely relate to this. Like on Twitter, getting that first, or even on YouTube, getting the first 200 subscribers is the hardest thing you can do. The first step is the hardest thing, and then once you get past that, it's much easier and easier as you continue going. Like how much did we jump from those 200?
Yeah.
Immediately, okay, cool, boom, boom. Then everyone started following. That's when people started subscribing to the different channels. So that's really. Never be discouraged by that first step. By okay, you're not going to put out an episode and you're not going to get 1,000 downloads on that very first one. It's all about building and continue. The main thing and that's something that you and I can agree on is consistency.
Yeah.
As long as you're consistent, that's all that the listeners and the viewers care about. Consistency is key. Doesn't matter if it's 2 views or 1,000. You just want to keep that show going, keep your content coming, focus on the quality of the content, and that's all you have to worry about. The rest of it will take care of itself.
And to that end, don't feel so obligated that every episode has to be perfect. We've had a couple of episodes of the Read Pile where everything has actually gone wrong, and I've put up episodes with last week's graphics, and I've put up episodes that inadvertently go on for an extra 10 minutes and nobody knows why.
We actually had a cat knock over the camera.
A
we
cat.
got him in there into the shot, and we said, "Oh no, look, it's Godzilla."
So, yeah.
We made a joke of it.
Cat's
And we
the
said, "You
best
know what?
cast member."
We're already
Because-
10 minutes into the shot. We're not going to redo it."
And it's
He's in the shot
and it's
now.
okay because you can use those small errors, I suppose, and create your own brand with it. Like we ran with it. Like Buster the cat is now a premium member of the Read Pile, even though his entire purpose is to ruin shots and make life miserable.
It makes it more real. It makes it more you, and it lets people know that this is actually a real person talking. I'm not just watching and reading something on Newsrama. I'm listening to this person. I'm in their home right now. I'm seeing what they have to say.
It's a fortress of nerditude. Thank you. It's not a home.
I apologize.
Thank you.
But that's the thing. If you have something you're passionate about, no matter what it is, and you feel like you have something to say, start a podcast. It's really cheap.
On springboarding off the subject of getting on social media, I was just remembering all the YouTubers that I watched that made it really big, like Total Biscuit, and a whole bunch of other stuff like that, PewDiePie. Some of them. Sometimes when you're on social media and you put yourself out there like that, eventually you're going to get a whole bunch of criticism. Sometimes there are just people out there who are...
Doesn't even take that long.
That's what I was about to say.
Oh, brother.
We're being criticized right now, I'm pretty sure.
We got our first angry message on YouTube. It was just one line, and it just said F off. I was so proud.
That's when you know you've made it.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions is what is the tipping point at the point where you get the trolls really start to come in?
Well, for us, since we've all sort of just amalgamed into one unit for about a year now, no one has, we haven't yet really gotten to that tipping point. But I've seen, we've had some negative responses to those 2 jerks.
We have?
Oh, yeah.
I just choose to ignore them.
And then I know Reasons I'm Broke gets into a lot of trouble on Twitter on a regular basis.
That we do.
For me, when I get negative responses, because if you're going to put yourself out there, period, there's going to be there's a troll for every podcast. And it's okay. You have to just sort of, the way I look at it is, anyone who's taken the time to watch my shows to tell me how bad I am must have watched all of my shows
To know how bad
to know how bad I am.
Thanks for watching.
So thank you for the views and the clicks, and we appreciate it. You will run into a bunch of people who are desperately trying to make their name off your back.